My name is Michael. I'm 72 years old, and like many of you, I've felt the quiet weight of loneliness and uncertainty as the years go by. Sometimes the house feels too still, memories of loved ones linger, and the future can seem unclear and even frightening. But over time, I've found a deep comfort in one simple promise Jesus made to his followers: "In my Father's house are many rooms. I am going there to prepare a place for you." Those words have been like a light in the darkness for me, a reminder that no matter how alone we may feel, there is a home waiting, prepared just for us. If this message touches your heart today, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Here, we walk together through these seasons of life, sharing hope, faith, and encouragement for every day. Jesus said to his disciples one evening, "In my Father's house are many rooms. I am going there to prepare a place for you." Those words echo like a gentle embrace, a tender assurance that we have a home waiting for us, a place of belonging prepared with love and care by God himself. This promise is not just for a few special people. It is for you, for me, for all who believe. No matter our age, our worries, or the loneliness we might feel, God's house has room for each one of us. When I first heard that, it felt almost too good to be true. Could there really be a place where loneliness fades, where pain and sorrow have no hold? A place not just of safety, but overflowing with love and peace. As I reflect on my life, I see how God has quietly been preparing me for that home, step by step, day by day, even in the hard moments. It is this hope that sustains me now, and I believe it can comfort your heart too. Let me tell you about a dear friend of mine, Mr. James. He is 75 and has faced many challenges: health struggles, the loss of his wife, and the loneliness that followed. Yet, what surprised me was the peace that shone from his eyes when he spoke about the promise Jesus made. He told me he pictures that house often, imagining the rooms filled with light, the gentle voices of friends and family reunited, and above all, the presence of the Father who never lets go. That vision gives him strength, a sense of security that no earthly trouble can shake. Jesus isn't just preparing a place in some distant heaven. He is preparing a refuge, a home filled with love, waiting for each of us. This brings to mind the verse from John 14:2, where Jesus says, "My Father's house has many rooms." If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? This scripture doesn't leave us guessing or hoping. It tells us plainly that there is a room for us, a place that is certain and real. Knowing this helps when fears creep in: fear of being forgotten, fear of being alone, fear of what the future holds. We can hold on to this promise, and it steadies our hearts. And if you're feeling weary or unsure, I want to encourage you to lean into that hope. Just like Mr. James, we can imagine ourselves walking into that house, feeling the warmth of God's love and knowing we belong. There is no need to fear or doubt, for Jesus has already made a way for us. I also want to gently remind you that if you find this message touching your heart, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We walk this path of hope together, sharing encouragement and faith every day. Another friend, Mrs. Clara, is 80. She often talks about the comfort she feels thinking about reuniting with her late husband and other loved ones in that eternal home. When the days grow quiet and memories become bittersweet, she finds joy in the promise that separation is only temporary. She holds on to 1 Thessalonians 4:13-18, which reminds us not to grieve like those who have no hope, because we believe in the resurrection and reunion with Christ. Clara's faith transformed her grief into hope. She told me that thinking about heaven no longer feels distant or scary. Instead, it feels like a beautiful gathering, a celebration in the Father's house where all sorrows are wiped away and love never ends. Her story shows that the promise of many rooms is not just about the future. It shapes how we live today, with peace and courage. Then there's Donal Zira, 85, who sometimes battles deep loneliness. Yet she finds strength in Revelation 21:4, which says God will wipe every tear from our eyes, and there will be no more death, mourning, crying, or pain. That promise comforts her when nights feel long, or when she misses those who have passed on. Knowing God's house is a place without loneliness or pain gives her a peace that fills her heart in the darkest moments. I've met many elders like Donal Zira who testify that this hope is more than a dream. It is a real refuge for the soul, a source of renewal when earthly life feels heavy. It reminds us that our present struggles do not define us, and a glorious future awaits. In the Psalms, we read about God as a shelter and refuge. Psalm 91:1-2 says, "Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust." Brother Samuel 70 shared how this verse has been his daily anchor, especially through illness and uncertainty. He feels God's loving presence protecting him every step, preparing him for that eternal home. Finally, Sister Ruth, 68, finds joy in living each day fully because she knows the Father's house is her true home. Hebrews 11:16 reminds us that we are seeking a better country, a heavenly one. That hope inspires her to serve, to love, and to live with gratitude despite the challenges of aging. I hope these reflections bring you comfort and reassurance that Jesus has truly prepared a place for you. No matter where you are in life's journey, you belong in the Father's house, and there is room for you. As we come to the close of this reflection, I want to remind you that the promise of a room in the Father's house is not only about the future, but it also transforms the way we live today. Knowing that we have a secure place with God gives us peace in our hearts and courage to face whatever each day may bring. One of the most beautiful truths in Scripture is that God's love is constant and unchanging. It is a shelter in the storm, a refuge when life feels uncertain. Psalm 46:1 says, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble." This means that even now, while we walk this earth, God's presence surrounds us, comforts us, and strengthens us. We are never alone, even in the quiet moments when the world feels distant. Brother Samuel's story shows us that faith is not about having all the answers or never feeling fear. It is about trusting in God's faithful presence, even when the path is unclear. He told me that every day he feels God's love like a shield around him, protecting him from despair. This same love is available to you and me. Jesus' promise that he is preparing a place for us is a reminder that our lives have eternal meaning. The rooms in the Father's house symbolize a home filled with joy, peace, and the presence of God. It is a place where tears are wiped away, pain is no more, and love reigns forever. This promise is a source of hope that can carry us through the hardest seasons. Sister Ruth's joyful spirit inspires us to live fully in the present while holding on to the hope of the future. She understands that aging may bring challenges, but it also brings the gift of wisdom, gratitude, and the opportunity to love deeply. Hebrews 12:1 encourages us to run the race with endurance, fixing our eyes on Jesus, who makes our faith complete. This race is not about speed, but about faithful perseverance until we reach the home God has prepared. Living with this hope allows us to face each day with peace, knowing that no matter what happens, we belong to God. His promise is sure and eternal. There is room for you in His house, a place prepared with love and care. If this message has brought you comfort, I invite you to share it with someone who may need to hear these words today. Please also like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue walking this path of faith and hope together. Your encouragement helps build a community where we can support and uplift one another. As we close, Imagine the Father's house a place where light fills every room, where laughter and peace flow like a gentle stream, and where you are greeted with open arms. This is the promise Jesus gave us, a promise that brings hope beyond what we can see. No matter your age or circumstance, remember that you are deeply loved. Your place in God's eternal home is secure. You belong, you are cherished, and there is room for you. May God's peace fill your heart now and always. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I am Michael, and until we meet again, may the light of His love guide your steps and bring you comfort. Sometimes, as we grow older, the weight of our years begins to press heavily on our hearts. Memories of days gone by can bring both comfort and sorrow. We might find ourselves sitting in quiet moments, wondering if we still have a purpose, if the days ahead hold meaning, or if anyone will remember us once we are no longer here. These thoughts are natural and human, but the promise Jesus made to His followers is a beacon that pierces through the fog of uncertainty and fear. It reminds us that our story does not end with the closing of our eyes on this earth, but continues beyond, in a home prepared by God Himself. I think again of Mr. James, whom I spoke of earlier. Despite the loss and hardship he has faced, he finds great strength in the knowledge that his life matters deeply to God, and that the place prepared for him is more wonderful than anything he could imagine. When he talks about that promise, his voice softens with peace, as if the assurance of a room reserved for him calms every restless worry and fear. It's not just a future hope, but a present comfort that fills his days with quiet joy. Jesus did not say, "If you are good enough, there might be a place for you." No, his words are far more generous, far more comforting. He said, "There is room for you." This is a promise of grace, a gift unconditional and sure, a reminder that God's love is vast beyond all measure, and that He desires each of us to be with Him forever. The rooms in the Father's house are many, and there is always a space for each soul He cherishes. No one is left out, no one forgotten. This promise shifts how we live our present days. Mrs. Clara's story is a beautiful example of this truth in action. When grief threatens to overwhelm her, hope steps in as a gentle, steady companion. She shared with me how thinking about the reunion with loved ones in heaven brings a smile through tears. The pain of loss is real and deep, but so is the hope that nothing can separate us from the love of God. This hope is a precious gift, a light that shines through the darkest nights and quietest moments of loneliness. Loneliness is a faithful companion to many in their later years. It can feel overwhelming at times, as if the silence in the room grows louder than the voices we once heard. Donna Alzira opened her heart to me and told me how the promise found in Revelation 21 gives her rest when the nights feel long and empty. When she feels alone, she remembers that God's home is a place where there will be no more pain, no more tears, no more sorrow. This promise brings a peace that fills her heart even on the loneliest days, a peace that quiets her restless thoughts and soothes her weary spirit. The Psalms speak beautifully about God as a shelter and a fortress. Psalm 91 describes the Lord as a refuge in times of trouble, a place where we can rest safely under His shadow. Brother Samuel, now 70, shared with me how even as his body grows weaker, his spirit rests securely beneath God's care. He feels the presence of the Almighty every day, a constant protection that extends beyond this life into the eternal home God is preparing for those who trust in Him. His faith is a shield, His hope a stronghold in every storm. Sister Ruth, 68 years old, lives her days filled with joy because she holds tightly to Hebrews 11:16, which reminds us that we are seeking a better, heavenly home. She sees her earthly home as temporary, a passing place, and her heart is set on the eternal country prepared for her by God. This hope does not make her ignore the challenges or pains of the present, but rather gives her strength to live with purpose and love. Every morning, she wakes with gratitude and a renewed spirit, ready to embrace the day and serve those around her, knowing her true home awaits beyond this life. In all these stories, there is a thread of hope woven through the fabric of life's difficulties. It is the hope that comes from knowing that no matter what trials we face, no matter how deep the loneliness or how sharp the loss, God's promise is true. There is a place for us in His house, a place of peace, love, and joy that lasts forever. This promise holds us steady, anchors us in faith, and lights our path as we walk through the seasons of aging. If you feel your heart warmed by this message, I encourage you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Together, we can find strength and comfort in God's promises and support one another on this journey of faith and hope. Sharing this message with others can also bring light into their lives, reminding them that they are never alone and that God's love never fails. Remember, the Father's house is ready, the rooms are many, and there is always room for you. You belong forever, deeply and unconditionally loved, waiting to be welcomed home.